2hollis is genuinely one of the most exciting artists in the underground rap space at the moment. And I, like many others, were introduced to his music through him opening for Ken Carson during his 2024 tour. And the main reason why so many people have fallen in love with his music recently is his over-the-top and experimental production. And today I'm going to be breaking down what makes 2hollis' production so incredibly unique and honestly refreshing. And this includes his incorporation of like rage or opium adjacent beat sections, as well as his EDM beat switches, his masterful arrangement, and his use of some super creative mixing techniques. So without any further ado, the first portion of his production we're going to be going over is his rage aspects. And there's only 3 things I really want to go over for this section because it's pretty basic. Nothing too crazy going on here. The first of which is going to be the melody. And the plugins you're going to want to use when making your melodies are going to be some kind of like wavetable synthesizers with some creative sounds. So for this, I'm literally just using stock Serum presets for the entire melody. The first thing you're going to want to throw down is something that builds the basis for your chord progression, as well as the rhythm of your melody. So this beat is in the key of F sharp minor, and we're playing a progression going from the 1 to the 3 to the 4. And something I've noticed about 2hollis' melodies when analyzing his songs like Gold, Trauma, and Jeans is that the melodies just kind of look like they're all over the place. It just looks like a scatter of notes. Like there's no real cohesion to it. It's not just like straight chords, it's notes flying all over the place. So I tried to get as chaotic as I could with this melody without doing too much. So with that being said, this is what the first portion of the melody sounds like. And as far as the rest of the melody goes, you're just going to want to throw down different types of synths to complement your main synth. So you could throw down a pluck. You could throw down some Supersaw / Hypersaw type synths. And as well as that, you're going to want to get creative with some really weird and unique sounds. So for that element, I have this arpeggio, as well as this arpeggio. And before you ask, all the presets in this beat are going to be down in the description below. So with that being said, this is what the melody sounds like all together. Now, the next portion of the rage section that I want to cover is going to be the drums. And before I get into it, all the drums you're about to hear in this beat are from my Deathbound drum kit. And this kit contains a ton of custom drum sounds, which are all perfect for making beats in the style of Ken Carson, Opium, 2hollis, all those kind of guys. And on top of that, all the sounds are completely custom, so you're getting 0 recycled sounds. I don't like to shove advertisements down your guys' throats, so I'm going to stop talking about it. But if you like the sounds you're about to hear, check it out in the description below. But yeah, for drums, you're really only going to want to focus on 3 main things. Firstly, you're going to want to have some kind of super distorted, overblown 808. Secondly, you're going to want 16th note hi-hats, which is just half-step hi-hats, but double the time. And thirdly, you're going to want to have some type of snare rolls. Doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but just something to maintain the energy in your drums. And aside from that, you can just throw down things like claps, counter snares, and open hats. So with that being said, this is what the rage portion of our beat sounds like. Now, the next aspect of 2hollis' production that I want to go over is going to be his EDM buildups. And for the buildups, you want to keep them pretty bare bones. You only really need to focus on 3 main things. The first of which is going to be some kind of groovy bass pluck bass line. And the secret sauce for that groove is to use the E and the So if you're unfamiliar, measure counting goes like this. 1, E, and So by using the 2nd and 4th measure of the grid, you're gonna get a lot of really unorthodox type of bounce, especially in this like 140 to 160 BPM range. So with that being said, I'm just playing this bass line, making use of that technique while playing the root notes. The second thing that you're going to want to focus on in terms of the buildup is going to be some kind of drums that emphasize the offbeats. And for this, literally all I have down is that same 16th note hi-hat from the rage portion of the beat. And then I also throw down this open hat, yet again, emphasizing the offbeats. So if you want to achieve this, literally just take your open hat and put them on the first note of every measure, and then just move them to the and of the measure. So this is what those sound like together. And the third thing that you're going to want to focus on for buildups is going to be sound effects. And you're just going to want to make use of impacts, risers, down sweeps, and if you really want to stay true to the style, Minecraft firework sounds. As well as that, you could also make use of build-up drum loops, though this kind of breaches more into like dubstep territory, but at the same time, don't be afraid to make stuff that sounds like Minecraft outro music. So yeah, with that being said, this is what the entire build-up portion sounds like. And now we can finally go over my favorite portion of this beat, which is going to be the EDM drop. And yet again with this, you're really only going to want to focus on three main things. The first of which is going to be the melody. And for the melody, we already have something drawn up with the rage section of our beat. So you could just take elements from that portion of the beat and either copy and paste them or use them on different types of sounds. So with that being said, all of these aspects highlighted in red are completely copy and pasted from the rage section. I only added a few extra melodic components. So yeah, for the melody, you can literally just copy and paste stuff from the rage section and then just add other stuff to your own discretion. The second thing that you're going to want to focus on for the drops is going to be drums. And for the drums, yet again, we're doing some copying and pasting. So I have these same 16th note and offbeat hi-hats from the build-up portion. And then as well as that, I throw down a couple of other hi-hat loops. So I have this one and this one. And then aside from that, I just have this 4 on the floor kick and this snare. So with that being said, this is what all of the drums sound like together. And then the final thing you're going to want to focus on in terms of the drop, especially if you're doing 4 on the floor drums, is going to be sidechaining. So you may have heard it when I was playing certain sections of the drums and the melody, but I just have down Shaperbox with the sidechain LFO on my melody bus, my bass, my hi-hat loops, stuff like that. And this is really going to add to like the danceability of your drop. So this is what the drop sounds like without any kind of sidechaining. And this is what it sounds like with the sidechaining. So now, with that being said, the fourth and final aspect of 2hollis' production that I want to go over is his creative mixing techniques. And now, the first of which is going to apply to the rage section, and the second of which is going to apply to the EDM section. And one problem I run into a lot when it comes to rage or opium type beats is that I want my drums to have that super like crunchy, distorted sound. And in order to do that, I have to freaking blow my bass through the ceiling, which is fun, but it kind of drowns out the rest of the mix. So one way you can achieve that crunchy sound is to route all of your drum components except for the 808 to a singular drum bus and throw down a ring modulator with these settings. So without the ring modulator, this is what the drums sound like. And with the ring modulator, this is what the drums sound like. It's just got that like little bit of sizzle, a little bit of crunch, you know? And then the mixing tip for the EDM section that I have for you is something that I haven't noticed a lot in 2hollis' production, but it's something that's really going to assist in creating variety within your beats. And that's going to be the use of time or filter shaper plugins such as Shaperbox. So as you can see, I have a bunch of Shaperbox automation clips throughout this beat, and most of them are affecting certain portions of the melody where I have Shaperbox on the melody, but at certain portions of the beat, I want it to not have Shaperbox. That way there's something different about it. So that's one way you can make use of Shaperbox through like melody mixing. And then another way you can make use of it is going to be applying it to your master to make fills. So Shaperbox has a whole fills section, and I just browse through it until I find something that I like. And then from there, I'll automate the Shaperbox so that it's only active for like a bar or two. So with that being said, this is what the Shaperbox fill sounds like in context with the drop. It's just a little something you could do to make your beats a little bit more interesting. But yeah, with that being said, that is going to completely cover the genius of 2hollis' production. I really hope you enjoyed today's tutorial and learned something new. If you have any questions, please throw them down below and I will do my best to answer them. Also, check out my Patreon where I post the FLPs to all of my beats in all of my videos, including this one. That way, if you wanted to study the mixing, the mastering, the arrangement, the melody, the drums, all that kind of stuff, it's right at your fingertips. As well as that, consider subscribing as I post one tutorial a week and one sound kit a month. Other than that, it's going to be it.